Yo, what is up everyone? Tachi here. So today we are going to be talking about these spec weapons that are going to be coming out pretty much today actually, as a matter of fact. As much as I don't want to pull, I think this banner and all of the specs are too good to not pull. However, I will say keep in mind we do have a collab coming in like a week. So yes, we will have GC crystals by the time the banner comes out, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if the 2000 crystals or whatever that you're going to end up getting is going to be enough. So it kind of sucks. But you're going to have to decide, are you going to be pulling on this spec banner to get these weapons? Preferably MLBs or at least a couple copies. That's probably what you should be going for. Or are you going to save for the collab banner, which we still have no details on? It could be a flop. Maybe the collab banner sucks. Maybe it's gonna have DC3. Hell, maybe it's gonna have an LL weapon. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna have neither of those, but who knows? I also didn't expect this banner to have 19 costs, and look at where we're at. The first weapon is going to be this bow here, or gun, whatever you guys want to call it. The main weapon attack is going to increase your M attack. Nothing fancy about anything else, it's just normal one target. And it does have replenish magic too, which I mean, personally I'm not really a huge fan. The next weapon is going to be Executioners, which is, you know, obviously 1.5 target magic attack down and DC 2. So this one right here, I don't have it MLB. I have one copy. So I don't have any limit breaks on it. And then this is Reaper. This is, I think this came out in Halloween banner. It's DC 2. We're gonna call this main attack Bang Ding Ow with M defense down, so it's pretty good. Both of these are really good actually. So I would say if you're a magic DPS, or if you happen to need magic DPS weapons for whatever reason, this is a good banner to pull on. However, as I have this weapon MLB, and I assume some others should as well, but I have 0 limit breaks on this one. Is it worth me pulling my 3000 crystals? Let's say I'll probably have 11 pulls worth by the time the banner comes out. Let's say 11 pulls. Is it worth me pulling 11 times for a chance to get more limit breaks on Executioners? Or am I better off waiting for another banner? I'm still having some trouble deciding. I think I'm either going to end up spending 3 to 5 pulls or all 10. It's kind of sucky, but I mean, there's not really much I can do about that. This is really the only weapon that I have left. But if you happen to be a DPS, magic DPS, and you have none of these MLB, I think it's guaranteed you should pull on this banner. I don't think you should pull all of your shit, but you should definitely pull quite a lot of it. Anyhow, let's move on to the next weapon, which is going to be the staves. The main new staff is going to be a 19 cost with approximately, I'm going to go ahead and say 2660 defense total, which is quite high. It's actually probably one of the, if not the highest staffs in terms of defense. Of course, 19 cost, so that makes sense. It is going to be a 2 target staff with magic defense boost to allies, which is fantastic. And it comes with recovery support too. Great staff. Now, that being said, I believe this skill here is going to be a tier 2 skill. I don't know what the ratios are, but I imagine they are going to be lower than tier 3s. However, the fact that it's RS2 and 2 target outweigh that anyways, so you are going to want this on your grid regardless. This next staff here is recovery support 2 target, so also a really good staff. Now, that being said, this weapon has come out already, so this will likely just be limit breaks for most people. I don't know what banner it came out on, but yeah, it's probably just going to end up being limit breaks. But even that, remember, limit breaks are really important in this game. And if you're anywhere near end game or mid game, like the late end of mid game, this is still like more important just getting limit breaks. Because at this point, even like my grid, I really don't have anything else to upgrade. I either get more limit breaks or I get brand new weapons that have higher stats and I need multiple copies of them. Because one copy, even if it's DC, it's just like a small boost. We're talking about like 2-3% damage increase if my stats stay the same. That's not really like, it's not really like that amazing. Although of course it's boosting in total, so Obviously, I'm going to end up trying for 20 DCs anyways, but in comparison to getting 2 or 3 copies of a DC weapon, I think that's probably better in the long term. But we're talking like months, perhaps even a year or 2 from now. And then this final staff is going to be recovery support too, but unfortunately it is going to be 1 target P attack. So the only way I would really ever say that this weapon might be okay to have on your grid is if you happen to have another 1 target staff that is not recovery support too. This could obviously replace something like that. But ideally you would want to just have very little or no 1 target staffs as a cleric. Even if it has recovery support too, it's not really worth it. Because just again, when you are dealing with pressure from the enemy team, the last thing you want is to have a 1 target heal and you're just not going to be able to keep up with the amount of damage. You only have 3 clerics and you have 5 enemy DPS. If you're all using 1 target staffs at an unfortunate timing, you're probably gonna die. Or worse yet, if one of you guys is in SP or reloading, which happens all the time, the pressure is going to be too much and your DPS will die, and that is not a good thing. So always go for 2 target or 1.5 target. Your first goal is to have a grid of only 1.5 and 2 targets, and then from there you slowly start to get rid of the 1.5s for 2 targets, preferably the ones that don't have recovery support first. Anyways, we are going to be moving on to the next weapon, which is going to be the books. The main book, 19 costs, which is, as you can see here, look at that massive attack stat, 2512, 2485. I'm gonna be honest, if I was a whale and I was a magic DPS whale, I would be pulling on this for subgrid. I'm gonna be honest, because 2500 is a massive boost into the subgrid. It's giant. The main skill is going to be M plus P attack to 1.5 targets. So that's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good book, I would say. That's a pretty good book for attack debuffing. I'm going to move on to the next book, which is going to be physical plus magic defense down to 1 target. I know that 1 targets are not bad in comparison to staffs when you were talking about Minsorks, but I still don't really like 1 targets. However, it is SB2, so if this happens to be in your grid, getting dupes is a pretty good thing. And like even if it's not, just being able to defense debuff, I mean, it's always fine. And just being able to do both of them, 2 stat 1 target, is, I suppose it's fine, although I would prefer again if it was 1 stat 2 target, but it is what it is. Now that being said, the defense stats are a little low on this, TBH, but yeah, I'm sure if you're a defense spec sork, this is actually a pretty decent book for you, although you probably already have it. And then the final book is going to be M attack down to 1.5 targets, which, I mean, again, attack debuffs are really strong, and I won't say we're in attack meta. We're still in attack. I won't say that we're still in M attack meta, but yeah, I mean, there's still usually like 2 to 3 M attackers per guild now, except unless you're like fighting massive whales like Davari, for example. I think Davari and other top guilds are strong enough now that they can probably swap from M attack to P attack at any time, and they still won't, like, it's not like they're gonna be weak. They could drop M attack grids and just go into P attack whenever they want, and like, yeah, they'll lose like maybe 20-30k points at most, but they're still like hella strong, so it makes no difference to you. And then it comes with blade deploy, which is P attack up. So I mean, it's just a little help there in the terms of buffing. Let's move on to the next weapon, which is going to be the harps. The first harp is going to be physical plus magic defense to 2 targets, which, I mean, it's like fantastic. This is probably one of the best, if not the best, defense buffing instruments in the game. Plus SB2, like, dude, this is a pool right here, man. And look at those defense stats. Wow, that's crazy. Over 2700 defense. That's insane. That's like almost 2750 probably. That's probably off by a couple. But that's insane. That's a really strong instrument there. So, man, and when you're looking at these other ones too, P plus M defense to 1 target. I mean, yeah, again, 1 target, but that's not half bad. SB2, and then another SB2. This is I think this is Heat Wave, right? P attack with the disadvantage. Yeah, it's 1 target, but disadvantage is huge, man. Heat Wave is probably one of the best buffing weapons, although you have to use a Nugalu late game for it to be like really effective. although you would have to use a Fire Nightmare endgame to like really show how ridiculous it is, but even early game, you can get some insane, like we're talking like 8-10 stacks early game. That's really massive. So yeah, man, all three of these weapons are really, really good. So just like as a min sorc, you definitely want to dip into this pretty hard. But I don't know how much you guys want to put into it. Like how much, if you're a min sorc, someone tell me in the comments down below if you're a min sorc, how much are you going to spend of your crystals? You could go ahead and tell me as a percentage of your overall crystals and or the total amount of pulls that you're going to end up doing. That's like crazy. Like this is actually a really good banner. And then the next one is going to be the physical DPS. It is going to be coming with a physical, it is going to be coming with an axe that has DC2 with P defense down, so slightly less damage, but it comes with DC. And then this one, nothing important about it. It's like bludgeon, I think it was called, or pagan something. P defense down, nothing important there. It's just a typical hammer. It does like really nothing else. And then it comes with the DC2 sword, also nothing important in terms of the attack. So I mean, if you look at this, I think this is probably the worst banner out of the specs, and even this one is pretty okay. Like it's still 2 axes, one with DC2. I mean, it's not amazing, but like it does have pretty high physical attack. I think it's the second highest physical attack, just behind the one that has like 2600 something. So like it's still really strong. And if you're not done with your grid for whatever reason, like getting more copies of Pagan is like probably a good idea. The sword is kind of ass, but it is DC2, so if you spec in swords occasionally for whatever reason, I mean, I guess it's fine. It does also come with 2100 magic attack, so I suppose if you are like if you're running some sort of like weird DC grid, like having even stats will help you out longer, because for example, in my DC grid, my M attack is still 10,000 higher than my P attack, so my damage is kind of weird. If I was in an ideal position, both of my M and P attacks would be like pretty much the same thing, like right around the 65k on my DC grid, and I would be doing like really insane damage with like a Poppy or something like that. That's pretty much something you see with whales. You see that they both have both P and M attack at like 72k. Stuff like that is where you see some insane damage. But anyways, that is going to be the end of this video. Again, all of these spec banners are pretty good. I do think the physical one is the worst. However, I'm having some difficulty deciding how much I want to spend on this banner, just due to the fact that we are going to be having a collab soon. And I mean, honestly, aside from the fact that they are limited units, I'm really thinking we might get some really good weapons on this collab. And I just don't think that the 2000 and whatever crystals that I get from GC is going to be enough. So I guess I'm just gonna have to go and figure it out myself, because these banners are coming out in a couple of hours. But anyways guys, that is it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you guys have not subscribed yet. For now though, I am out. Have a nice day.